Hey everybody, Ken Hendricks with Home Instead Senior Care here. And today we're going to be talking about the effects of COVID-19 and social distancing on caregivers who are caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's or another type of dementia. My guest is a wonderful friend of mine and an expert in this area, Dr. Jytte Lokvig. Jytte is an Alzheimer's and dementia specialist and the founder of the Alzheimer's Cafe in Santa Fe, New Mexico. This project in Santa Fe was the first in the United States, and now Alzheimer's cafes exist all over the place. She offers her assistance with getting new hosts up and running to start cafes in their neck of the woods. She also offers private consulting services for families dealing with the often complicated realities associated with dementia. Jytte is the author of several books, including Alzheimer's A to Z, the Alzheimer's Creativity Project, and one of her most recent, the Alzheimer's and Memory Cafe, a how to start and succeed with your own cafe guide. And so thank you so much for joining me today, Jytte.
I'm so glad to be here, Ken. Thank you.
You know, it's funny, I've called these things coffee chats, and today is actually the first time that I've actually had coffee on one of these because we're doing it
Oh,
in the morning.
I'm on water. I did my 2 cups this morning. That's it.
I'd love for you to tell the folks watching what is the Alzheimer's Cafe and what prompted you to start that so many years ago?
Well, the Alzheimer's Cafe is basically a social event for people living with dementia of any kind, and their caregivers and family members or friends or whomever they want to bring along. Why do it? Because when you're living with dementia in a family, especially in a family when dealing with dementia in a household, the disease itself is like the elephant in the room. It's ever present.
Hmm.
Everything is affected by the dementia. People need a break. The caregivers need a break, and people living with the disease need a break from that. So that's the purpose of the Alzheimer's Cafe. And what happens is we just come together. Uh, as you know, once in a while, people will talk about their dementia or their life with Alzheimer's, which is fine. It's just part of the regular conversation, but it's not a support group as such. Although in reality, it is probably the most supportive thing that people can do for each other. So, and it becomes a little family unit in its own right. Uh, we're going into our 12th year shortly, and here in Santa Fe. And over the years, I've had people who have been with us for several years at a stretch.
I think it's a really beautiful thing how you've put it together because my experience with joining you all for these things is that it's not a time like you said to get together and talk about, you know, all the realities of Alzheimer's and dementia and the struggles we're having, which are very real, but it's almost a time just to get together and forget about all that stuff and
Exactly.
just enjoy one another and do crafts and spend time together. Just have an enjoyable gathering, which is with this COVID-19 stuff that's going on right now. I notice when I go on hikes with my family and we get out of the house and we go do so, I notice that there are short periods of time where I kind of forget about this crisis that we're in the midst of, and those are beautiful
Well,
moments. It's great to be able to give our minds and our bodies a break from the stress of our day-to-day realities sometimes. And so with the COVID-19 situation, what are some of the major hurdles brought on by that you've noticed for those living with dementia and their family caregivers?
uh, interestingly, I mean, the assumption that you would make is actually correct, that the pressure is much higher on everyone. But interestingly, I've heard from several people who are actually living with dementia about escalating issues with their speech in particular, because they're not interacting with other people the way that even if the cafe is only one time a month, It has been incredibly powerful in helping people just relax and interact with others at whatever level they can with their disease. Now they don't have that. And, and like I said, I've heard that from several people now, and also caregivers who've noticed. There's a condition called aphasia,
Yeah.
which is pretty common in dementia, which means a loss of the ability to make words, and often understanding and comprehending words, and that has increased a lot with the people I have talked to. So because of that, I decided, well, even before I heard from people, I just decided we have to continue this. So that's why I started the virtual Alzheimer's Cafe, and the actual physical one, which is at the Children's Museum.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone out there, please come. We have so much fun. So once we open up again, please come.
Yeah.
And you're not required to have dementia, by the way. You can just come because it's fun, okay? Uh, but anyway, in the meantime, we're doing a virtual cafe, and we're actually doing it once a week, because I figured that with this monstrous disease that we're dealing with, we need a lot more contact with each other, even if it's virtual.
Well, it's lovely that we have this technology that we can do these things and keep them up, when we're having to do this
Right.
distancing. But some practical, maybe there's some practical tips from your expertise that we could share. I mean, I know that like for Home Instead, we're still providing caregiving support, which is much needed during this time. You're doing the virtual cafes and providing consulting
Mm-hmm.
services. What are some of the practical day-to-day tips that you would share with someone who is, taking on this social distancing dynamic and caring for a loved one with dementia right now?
I would look into lightweight projects that I could do with the person I'm caring for, with no judgment, no expectations, because what I am assuming is that, we're anxious and worried because of this condition. We're getting that across to the people we're caring for, and that's a very risky thing. So for our own sake and for their sake, let's just get light. Like you and I did a virtual session of music and memory. That's a wonderful idea. I would go on your computer, go online, pull up all kinds of nostalgic music that your mom or dad or whomever you're caring for loves. Okay, dance, for crying out loud. I mean, not, even if it's just chair dancing, like acting silly, nobody's
Right.
gonna watch. It's just you. So if you can laugh, dance, sing, uh, be goofy, wear weird clothes. Why not? We have to make the best of it. And sitting around and worrying at home is going to not only damage us psychologically, but it also, of course, is going to be much worse for the people we're caring for. So if nothing else, for their sake, just lighten up.
That's some really good stuff, Jytte. I think that there's some really good advice there. You mentioned our music and memories event that we did last week, and that was so enjoyable. We would I would get up and I'd play a song on my guitar. We do music from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and then we would all just kind of sit and reminisce and just talk about where that song takes us. And we're going to do another one of those coming up on Thursday, May 14th. It's going to be at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And you'll be able to find the information on that on Jytte and on Home Instead's social media channels. And then we're also going to include Jytte's email address in the show notes so that you can get in touch with her and get on her mailing list, because that is probably the best way to find out about all of these events that she has coming up. And so thank you, Jytte, so much for joining me today for this. I think that this is incredibly valuable information for people, and you're an incredible person. Thank you so much for what you do.
Oh, thank you. You too. Thanks for doing this, Ken. And
Absolutely.
thanks to Home Instead for doing it, sponsoring this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too. Love you.
For over 25 years, Home Instead has helped seniors stay home. Now, staying home isn't just staying in the place they love. It's staying safe. Home Instead. To us, it's personal.